Lovely McInerney spent 10 years at a Big Four accounting firm. She parsed purchase agreements. She calculated depreciation schedules. She generated journal entries. And she never wrote a single line of code in her life. Then someone told her about Claude Code skills. She assumed it was not for her. Skills? That word sounds technical. It sounds like something developers build in a dark room with 3 monitors. She almost closed the tab, but she did not. She opened a file. She typed instructions in plain English. When I give you a purchase agreement, extract the asset description, purchase price, useful life, and salvage value. Then generate the depreciation schedule using straight line method. That was her first skill. Not code, English. It worked every single time the same way. And it handled edge cases better than the spreadsheet templates she would been using for a decade. That is all a skill is. A recipe card written in plain English. It teaches AI how to do one specific task perfectly every time. Not code, not programming. A recipe card. 700,000 of these recipe cards exist right now in a public marketplace, built by accountants, designers, project managers, teachers, people who have never opened a terminal in their lives. And one text file, that same skill Lovely wrote, works across 40 different AI tools. Not just Claude Code, 40. Today, I am going to show you exactly what a skill is, how it works behind the scenes, and why the people building the best ones are not developers. No jargon, no assumptions, no coding knowledge required. Think about what happens when you prompt Claude Code today. You open it up, you type a paragraph explaining what you want, you get a result. Tomorrow, you type the same request again, different wording, slightly different result. The day after that, you forget half the instructions, the output drift. You are explaining your coffee order from scratch every single morning. A skill fixes that. You write the instructions once, you save them in a file. From that point on, AI follows your exact process. Same input, same quality, same result. Every time you hand the barista your card instead of explaining your order from scratch. And this is not just a clever workaround. Anthropic, the company behind Claude, built skills into the foundation of how Claude Code operates. 49% of jobs already have a quarter of their tasks being performed by AI, according to Anthropic's own economic index from March 2026. Skills are how that 49% gets the work done consistently. But what does a skill actually look like inside? It is simpler than you think. A skill lives in a folder. Inside that folder is one file called SKILL.md, and that file has 3 parts, like a recipe card. Part 1 is the name. That is the label on your recipe card. Email writer, meeting summarizer, invoice processor, whatever you want. The name becomes a / command. You type /, then the name, and Claude knows exactly what to do. Part 2 is the description. This is one sentence that tells AI when to use this skill. Use when drafting professional emails. Use when summarizing meeting transcripts. This might sound like a small detail. It is actually the most important line in the entire file. I will explain why in a minute. Part 3 is the instructions. This is the recipe itself. Plain English steps that tell AI exactly how to do the task. Start with a clear subject line. Use 3 paragraphs. Include a specific next step at the bottom. Match the tone of the previous emails in the thread. No code, no syntax. Just instructions a human could follow. 3 parts: name, description, instructions. That is the entire anatomy of a Claude Code skill. Most people assume that is the whole story. Name, description, instructions, done. But the real magic is in what happens next. You might assume Claude reads every installed skill when you start a session, like loading an entire cookbook before you start cooking. That would be slow. That would waste memory. That would be a terrible design. Claude does not do that. Picture a manager with a filing cabinet. The cabinet has 100 procedure manuals inside. When the manager arrives at work, they do not sit down and read all 100 manuals cover to cover. They read the labels on the folders. Accounting, email templates, client onboarding, depreciation schedules. That takes seconds. When someone walks in and says, "I need help with depreciation," the manager finds the right folder by its label, pulls out that one manual and reads it. Only that one. Everything else stays in the cabinet. That is exactly how Claude handles skills. When you start a session, Claude reads only the name and description of every installed skill, 30 to 50 tokens each. That is it. You could have 1,000 skills installed and Claude barely notices. About 1,000 tokens total for the labels alone. Then you ask about writing an email. Claude checks the labels, finds email writer use when drafting professional emails, opens that skill, loads the full instructions, follows them. Everything else stays unloaded. The technical term is progressive disclosure. The practical term is it just works. CodeWithSeb measured the efficiency, 98% token savings compared to loading everything upfront. You do not pay for skills you are not using. And this is why that description line matters so much. That one sentence is how Claude decides which skill to activate. Write a clear description and Claude finds the right skill automatically. You do not even need to type the / command. You just say what you need and Claude matches it to the right recipe card. Think about that for a second. You install a skill called Invoice Processor. You do not type /invoice processor. You just say, help me process these invoices. Claude reads the descriptions of your installed skills, recognizes that your request matches Invoice Processor, and loads the full instructions. The right recipe appears at the right moment. No effort on your part. This is fundamentally different from prompting. When you prompt, you are the one doing the work every time, remembering, explaining, hoping for consistency. When you use skills, AI does the matching and the remembering. You just describe the outcome. Now the part that shocked me when I first learned it, December 18th, 2025. Anthropic does something nobody expected. They take the entire skill specification, the format, the rules, the file structure, and they give it away. Open standard, free for anyone to use. Within months, the biggest names in technology adopt it. Microsoft, OpenAI, Atlassian, Figma, Cursor, GitHub, Canva, Cloudflare, Notion, Ramp, Sentry. One skill file, 40 AI tools. You write it once and it works everywhere. Think about phone chargers. Remember when every phone had its own cable? Samsung had one, Nokia had another, Apple had a third. You traveled with a bag full of chargers. Then USB-C happened. One cable, every device, everything just connected. Skills are the USB-C of AI, one file format, one standard. Write a skill for Claude Code and that same file works in Cursor, in Codex CLI, in Gemini CLI, in GitHub Copilot, in Windsurf, in Antigravity, 40 tools and counting. Your recipe card works in every kitchen on the planet. That is why 700,000 skills exist on the SKILL.md marketplace alone. The VoltAgent community has curated over 1,300 of the best ones with nearly 7,000 GitHub stars. And these numbers keep growing because every new tool that adopts the standard gains access to the entire library instantly. This is not a Claude Code feature. This is an industry standard, and your skills are portable forever. Let that sink in. If you switch from Claude Code to Cursor next month, your skills come with you. If your company adopts Codex CLI, your skills already work. If Google releases a new AI coding tool tomorrow and it adopts the standard, every skill in your library is instantly compatible. You never lose your investment. The talk that started all of this, Do Not Build Agents, Build Skills by Barry Zhang and Mahesh Murag from Anthropic has crossed 1 million views. Over 1 million people watched two engineers argue that the future of AI is not about building complex agents. It is about building simple, portable, reusable skills. And the market is proving them right. Now here is what nobody is talking about yet. The people building the best skills are not developers. Barry Zhang from Anthropic put it this way. Instead of $500,000 custom agent builds for each domain, you build one stable agent architecture and scale through skills, usually 10 to 20% the cost. The bottleneck moves from scarce AI engineering talent to abundant domain expertise. Read that last part again. Abundant domain expertise. That means the world does not need more developers to build great skills. It needs more accountants, more designers, more teachers, more project managers, more nurses, more real estate agents, more people who know their field deeply and can explain their process in plain English. Marie-Claire Dean is a designer, not a developer. She built 63 design skills and 27 commands, organized them into 8 categories covering research, systems thinking, strategy, UI design, interaction design, prototyping, design ops, and everyday tools. Her insight after building all of them, the act of encoding design knowledge forced me to articulate what I actually know. She did not learn to code, she learned to explain her own expertise. That is all a skill is, your expertise written down so AI can follow it. And here is the thing that flips the entire power dynamic. A developer can build the technical plumbing, they can wire up APIs and databases, but only a CPA knows when to use straight line depreciation versus double declining balance. Only a designer knows that user research comes before wireframes, not after. Only a nurse knows the triage questions that save time in an emergency room. The domain expert writes the recipe, the AI follows it, no middleman needed. Brian Dunelan is a new parent with no development background. He built a multi-jurisdiction tax calculator using Claude Code skills, saved $300 compared to hiring a CPA. Got a reusable tool he can run every year. A project manager, 4 weeks ago, a complete Claude Code skeptic, built email management and overdue reminder tools. Their exact words, I am not a coder, none of the use cases were relevant, so I tried creating tools that would help me, and holy crap, I run 60 plus skills myself. Every video you are watching on this channel, the script, the thumbnails, the email newsletter, the social media posts, the production planning, all of it is produced by skills chaining together. One skill researches the topic, another writes the script, another generates the production plan, another creates the thumbnails. They hand off to each other like a relay team. Not theory. This is the system behind what you are watching right now. That is skills chaining. When the output of one skill becomes the input of the next, you do not orchestrate it manually. You describe the goal and Claude figures out which skills to run and in what order. Your invisible AI team, working from recipe cards you wrote, the bottleneck is not code. It is your expertise. You, the teacher who knows how to explain fractions to a struggling student. You, the real estate agent who knows the exact sequence of a closing process. You, the nurse who knows the patient intake checklist that hospitals keep getting wrong. You are what AI is missing, and a recipe card is all it takes to teach it. 63% of people building with AI right now are non-developers. That is not a guess. That is from Vercel's survey of the vibe coding movement. The majority of AI builders are already people without engineering degrees. Skills just make it official. Your expertise is the product, not your ability to write Python. So here is your move tonight. 3 paths, pick one. Path 1, browse. Go to SKILL.md or the Voltagent repo on GitHub. Search for skills in your profession. See what already exists. There are 700,000 of them. Chances are someone in your field already built something useful. Path 2, install. Find one skill that matches what you do. Install it, try it, see the result. Feel what it is like when AI follows a recipe instead of guessing from a prompt. Path 3, build. Episode T05 on this channel walks you through building your first skill in 5 minutes. Plain English, recipe card, no code. I have put together a free resource with 50 AI business ideas that use skills, including the exact tools and income potential for each one. Link is in the description. Join Agent Skills Academy, our free school community. You will get every skill template from every video on this channel, plus a community of builders who share what they create. Comment explain below and I will send you the link. Lovely McInerney thought skills required coding. She built production accounting systems in plain English. 700,000 skills exist across 40 AI tools, an open standard adopted by Microsoft, OpenAI, and a dozen more. So, the question is not whether you can build one, you just learned that it is a recipe card. It is whether you will. You are not just using AI anymore, you are teaching it, and that changes everything.